your Republican colleague over in the Senate, Senator Tom Cotton, went on a radio show. He criticized the last hearing, but then admitted this. Let's listen.
I'll confess, though, I will confess that I did not watch that hearing, and I have not watched any of the hearings, so I have not seen any of them out of the context that I see a snippet here or there on the news.
Your response to him?
Yeah, let me tell you how he's thinking. He thinks it's cool to be in front of the base and be like, I'm not even watching the hearing, guys. I'm too cool to watch the hearings, but I already have my mind made up. Frankly, that probably works in the base. Tom Cotton has built a reputation on acting like the toughest guy on the planet, but he can't even put in front of his eyes, a narrative which may challenge his soul that he will have to go tell his people the truth. Republicans that are watching, let me tell you this. Every one of your leaders that refused to tell you that the election wasn't stolen, Joe Biden is the legitimate president, and that Trump is a poison to our country, anyone that refuses to tell you, that doesn't believe it, which is 99% of them, they are abusing you, they are lying to you. And you should throw them out with anger, because you need leaders that tell you the truth. You be ticked at me, be ticked at Liz Cheney, all you want, fine, we can take it. We're telling you the truth. The people that are lying to you, they may pat you on the head and make you feel good, but they're abusing you, stealing your money, all to stay in power. I have no sympathy for people like Tom Cotton or anybody else like Kevin McCarthy that lies to the base voter.
Those base voters that you're talking about, they're not changing their minds looking at the hearings. In fact, our Donny O'Sullivan went to the dueling Trump-Pence rallies in Arizona, and this is what some told him about the hearings. Let's listen.
Have you watched the January 6th hearings?
I have.
What do you think?
I think they're a bunch of bullshit.
Why?
Well, because do you have both sides, or are you getting one side of the story?
You mean like the side that attacked the Capitol?
You really believe that happened?
I was there.
Okay. I have a lot of people that were there too.
And
saw things that it wasn't what they say it was.
have you guys been watching the January 6th hearings at all?
No.
No?
No, we saw it when it all went down, and then we saw like a lot of the BLM and the Antifa people in the building as well, and it's just nonsense.
But I think like 800 people now have been charged, right?
Yeah.
None of them are Black Lives Matter or Antifa.
Yeah, that
They're not
doesn't mean
charging
anything.
them
That doesn't
correctly.
mean
They
anything
have
in
not
this
been
country.
brought into court
And-
for their due process because they have not been arrested.
Hunter Biden hasn't been arrested.
Yeah, I mean, your face says it all. These aren't outliers, right, in the Trump
Right.
base. What's your thought as you're listening to that?
I mean, facts are hard to digest, right? This is a very one-sided hearing process. It's very one-sided. I'll give them that. It has only been Republicans, mainly Republicans appointed by Donald Trump, that have testified. We haven't had a Democratic witness, maybe one or two. I don't know what their personal political affiliations, but it is only Republicans coming in and testifying. They are being lied to and manipulated. They are told that somehow Nancy Pelosi or Muriel Bowser controls the National Guard. The only person with control of the DC National Guard, by the way, is the President of the United States. The only person that can deploy the DC National Guard, but they are lied to. I could go on for an hour about this. I will tell you, though, I firmly believe in 5 or 10 years, you will not find a single person in this country that will admit to ever having supported Donald Trump. He's becoming a cancer. Trumpism is a cancer, and there will be people like Nixon that never admit they supported him in 5 or 10 years.
I do want to ask you about something that we're seeing, which is Democratic groups who are actually helping push election deniers in GOP primaries. They're hoping for an easier matchup in the general election. What do you make of that as someone whose committee is exposing them?
I think it's disgusting because, look, yeah, you think you may have an easier time at winning. I'm going to tell you, after January, there are going to be a few of these people. Look at Doug Mastriano in Pennsylvania. I mean, look at Darren Bailey in Illinois, an election denier. Governor Pritzker spent tens of millions of dollars so that he would win. By the way, yeah, Pritzker has a little bit of an advantage right now. In a good Republican year, Bailey may win. And you see this in Peter Meyer in Michigan. You're going to have election deniers win. So while I think a certain number of Democrats truly understand that democracy is threatened, don't come to me after having spent money supporting an election denier in a primary and then come to me and say, where are all the good Republicans? You're worried about democracy. I truly believe that all these issues we argue about, they matter, but the thing that matters the most right now is the threat to our democracy. It's the thing our kids will judge us by, and when we're sitting here playing DCCC, DNC politics, let's promote the crazy, and then that person wins, you don't understand the real threat. I'm sorry, you don't understand the threat to democracy.
Congressman, we do appreciate you being so generous with your time this morning. Thank you, Congressman Adam Kinzinger.
All right, with us now, CNN's senior political correspondent and anchor of Inside Politics Sunday, Abby Phillip. A little bit of Adam Kinzinger unplugged right there, taking on the DCCC, taking on Tom Cotton, taking on, at the very beginning, and I don't want to overlook this, the Justice Department for bringing in Mark Short, basically saying, thanks, but where you been the last year and a half? Wow, Abby.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely Adam Kinzinger unplugged. I mean, look, starting with the Justice Department, I actually think this is particularly interesting. This committee has been driving the bus on this investigation, and they are clearly frustrated that the Justice Department is kind of playing follow the leader here, as opposed to taking on parts of this investigation much more aggressively. There are elements of this investigation that the Justice Department would be best suited to pursue. I mean, when you asked him about those ties between Trump allies and the extremist groups, it's clear the committee is not quite there yet. He didn't quite have a fulsome understanding of what that might look like, but that seems to be a clear area where the Justice Department, which is already prosecuting many of the rioters, has investigative tools that can look more deeply into that. And I think that you see the January 6th committee being a little bit frustrated. And then at the end there, on these election deniers, I mean, this is really a serious issue for the Democrats, where people in both the Republican Party and on the Democratic side are raising real questions about this strategy of boosting people who in a good year, as Adam Kinzinger said, could very well win. And let's be honest, this is a good year for Republicans. This is not a good year for Democrats. So they really are playing a little bit of Russian roulette here with some of these candidates down ballot who are, many Republicans say are unfit to hold the offices that they're running for.
Abby, what did you think about what he said to Senator Tom Cotton, who's criticized the hearings, but then admitted he didn't even watch any of the hearings? I mean, Kinzinger basically said everything except he's a fragile snowflake who can't watch the hearings.
Yeah, I mean, directed at the Tom Cottons of the world, the Josh Hawleys of the world, perhaps the Ted Cruzes of the world, the Republicans who won't watch the hearings but denounce it as a partisan affair. Now, it is partisan in a certain sense, in that, as Congressman Kinzinger pointed out, mostly or predominantly Republicans have been testifying, but it has been notable. Look, the folks who are pushing back on the hearings so far are not doing so from a perspective of the substance, because they're not watching it. Because if you watch it, you have to contend with the factual information. And on top of that, nobody has pushed back on the facts that have been presented about Trump's behavior or lack thereof. There has been some pushback about people's recollections about what the Secret Service did or did not do, but nobody is denying that Trump did nothing on January 6th to stop the rioters voluntarily. He was pressured by his aides and his family to put out a statement. He didn't want to put out a statement. And so you're not seeing Republicans like Tom Cotton responding to those facts. And so I do think it's justified for everybody to say, well, how can you say that the committee is illegitimate when you don't even know what information they've been presenting?
Abby Phillip, great to talk to you this morning. Thanks so much for watching this with us. I mean, man, the Tom Cotton question, which is a terrific question by you, Kinzinger was loaded for bear, as they like to say. As soon as you mentioned Tom Cotton, he was ready to come at that one.
I think he's very frustrated with Republicans and Democrats for how they're playing politics with this.